What is up, guys, and welcome to another beautiful Friday here at the BullRush Live podcast. I just wanted to welcome all 170,519, actually 528 now, but updated a little bit since 10 minutes ago when I wrote that down. But whoop, we got a beautiful show here today. A lot has happened this week. We are on day 10 of government shutdown, so I'll give you all of the updates on that and everything you need to know and what is going on in DC. Why is the government shut down? You'll find out here in just a second. We got a few small movements in currency markets. Of course, it has been a historic week in crypto here. We've been hitting all-time highs with a few cryptos, mainly the one everybody's looking at, of course, is Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit 100 and I think like 26,500 and something was the all-time high. But we'll break that down and give you an update of what happened there. And of course, we got some updates in sports. We got our first NHL games that happened just this week. So we'll cover a couple of those and give you some updates on that. And then, of course, the everything you need to know what happened here, the biggest news stories in week 5 and the beginning of week 6 of the NFL, and what you need to know to get yourself ready for this weekend's game. So we're going to cover all of that plus a lot more here in today's show. I got a few announcements here for BullRush, a few competitions we got to go over. Again, government's still shut down, so of course no news, no non-farm yet, but of course as soon as we have that, as soon as the government's not shut down and they release that information, of course we'll cover that for you here today. But without further ado, let's hop in the BullRush dashboard and cover some updates that we have for you today. Let me see. Boom, shakalaka. Just so you know, actually, if you use code, sorry, let me pull this up because we actually have a special discount that I can give you that's running today. Sorry. Let me just find the graphic real quick. I'm going to pull this graphic up. So we have this deal that's always running on our page. So you can use code WELCOME30 and get 30% off all new accounts. You can use code SAVE20, get 20% off all 5, 10, and 25K accounts, and save 15 for 15% off all 50K. Whoop. It moved 50K, 100K, and 200K accounts. But today only is the last day for this deal. And you're going to have to give me 30 seconds to pull it up. I have a lot of folders on my computer. BR prop. And is this it? One sec. Boom, here you go. I believe this is it. Yes, here you go. So this deal actually ends today. So you only have a few hours left. But if you use code 5K410, you can get a 5K account for $10. That's right, a $5,000 A-Book funded challenge account for only for only $10. So, if you're not taking advantage of this deal, I don't know what you're doing. I guess you're not ready to get funded. But if you're ready to get funded and you're ready to start your journey as a trader, this is the last day to do it. So open up another screen on your computer, open up another screen on your phone, wherever you're watching this, and buy this right now because it is going to end any minute now, today. Last chance. You see October 10th is the last day, so make sure you hop in there. It's going to end at any moment, so the clock is ticking against you. Hop in there, pause this. I'll wait a few seconds and go buy this. But if you missed this discount, that $10 discount, don't worry. You can still get a 5K account for 20% off, or if it's your first account, you can get it for 30% off. We have some competitions to go over here. Of course, sports. We have a few sports competitions going on right now. We have our practice arena, which is, of course, free. Go in there and just learn the system, learn how to place picks on BullRush. We have our sports competition that actually ends today here at 5 p.m., so a few hours from now, about 8.5 hours. And then we have our NFL Satellite Survivor into round 7 that is going to be ending on the 14th, which I believe is Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. So after that Monday game, 12 a.m. on Tuesday, this round's going to end, and the top 10 people are going to be moving on into the final, into the next round, so round 7 of the NFL Survivor. First but not least, let's hop into this sports competition and see what is going on. For only $1.99, you can compete for $100 worth of prizes. Only 28 people left in this competition. And in first place here, we have Swedish Queen. She's going to secure that $50 first place prize. Remember, only $1.99, so $1.99 into 50. That's pretty good returns right there. Their return, they placed 5 picks, and they have $1.6 million in bankroll. Remember, everybody starts here with only $100,000, so that's huge returns. They have a I'm guessing you're a female because it says Swedish Queen, so I'll say she. If you're watching in the chat, just correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, 1.6 million in bankroll. Let's see what some of her trades were, or some of her picks. So her highest winning, so she won 1.6 million in one. I want to see what this pick was. Let's see which one that was. Okay, so it was this one. So it was a parlay. This is an insane parlay. I gotta, jeez Louise. Look, so Swedish Queen, if you're watching, you can always share this on your social medias. Just click here, share, and you can share it like that, or you can open this up in a new tab, and we can check out what this pick was in a beautiful little setting right here. So they wagered 300,000. So let's kind of look at the road here, because you don't just get 300,000. So it looks like they've done all parlays, and they did four $25,000 parlays. So they're gonna win one or lose it all, and they ended up winning one, $313 right there. Let's see what that parlay was. So that looks like it was a same game parlay. So Buffalo versus New England, Josh Allen over 29.5 pass attempts, over 20 pass completions, over 1.5 pass touchdowns, and over 226 passing yards. So big Josh Allen fan here, but that paid out in the end $25,000 to pay $313,000. Now with that $300,000, did they cash out? No, they did not. They went right back in there like a trooper and placed this. Only kept 13K on the side, so that way if they lost it all, they're still in the competition. They're not completely zeroed out. But they placed a plus 444 on this nice little parlay. Sorry, I had a brain fart right there. This parlay. Oh, it was the same game parlay too with the Chicago Cubs and Milwaukee Brewers. Remember, this is let me see. All right. Yeah, so this is a really great one. Chicago Cubs to win. Matthew Boyd earned runs under 1.5. Matthew Boyd hits allowed under 3.5, and Milwaukee Brewers under the point spread here, plus 9.5. So great little parlay there. Really thought out. It's not just some Hail Marys. They have some really nice. Obviously, this is a very secure one, plus 9.5. That'd be crazy if they got blown out like that. But it has happened before. And that Chicago Cubs win there really secured it. And it got them $1.6 million in the competition. Pretty much secured them in first place there. I don't think anybody else is going to be catching up any time soon here. Yeah, I mean, second place here is at 999% returns or $1 million. So they got to make another 600,000. I forgot because they won back the original 300,000. So they gotta make another $600,000 in profits to even catch up. But yeah, 553% back from first place. And whoa, they've only placed one pick. So, and then my boy Shubham here has 2 picks and 694% returns. We're gonna check just one more out here, just because I'm curious about this one Hail Mary pick. If it was and it was just how I thought. They placed a pick for the full $100,000 and pretty much 10x'd it. I mean, very close to 10x'd it here. So $1.09 million there in payout. So I mean, there's 2 ways to do it. The first way there is, and even what the first place Swedish Queen did, they kind of placed a pick on they wagered their entire bankroll with, and same thing here. But at least you had it spread out. Swedish Queen had it spread out over 4 picks. WS50 put the balls on the wall and just said, look, if this pick doesn't work, I'm out. And it secured you $30. So congratulations on that. Yeah, so that's our sports competition. We do have another one coming up here soon, I believe, next week. So a little longer than next week. Next Friday, we have on the 19th, we have this competition. Again, $199 for $100 in prizes. But if you're a Premier League fan, soccer fan, football fan, whatever you want to call it, we have this Premier League weekend competition. It runs every single weekend. So, of course, right now, yes, we don't have it going on right now, but we will have it going on here on the 18th. So registration has already started. If you go over here, probably, let's see, I have 7 people only in here. 7 people, and what are the prizes here? Top 5 people win a prize, $200 worth of prizes. First place, you could win $1.99. That's that's about 50x if you win first place from what you paid. A little bit more than 50x, like 51x or whatever. Sorry, long week. 51x or whatever that comes out to. So make sure you check that out. Again, $1.99, it's a no-brainer to hop in that competition. And then, of course, before I even forget, let's check out the NFL Survivor Tournament, the one for the big bucks, the one for the $100,000 in cash prize. You hear that? It's not fake, man. It's not fake. $100,000 in cash prizes. So let's check out what's going on here. Top in, of course, we're in week 6, so we're in round 6. And after yesterday's game, we already have some movement. So let's check out who is in first place. So first place, we got June. Sorry, can't pronounce your name. But whatever your name is, we got you in first place, Gene Junson. And your last pick earned you $767,000. But it looks like you... Oh, no. You got that available. Okay, I thought you placed another pick we couldn't see there. But it was $100,000. Again, everybody just balls to the wall here. Another $100,000 pick. If this guy would have lost this pick, he would have been out of the competition. He would have lost his, whether he paid $100, $20 for one of the satellites. He would have lost his money. He would have to go to another satellite and join again. But it ended up working out for him, and he picked... Wow. See, that was a good one. That was a good one. I kind of was 50-50 on this, but I had a feeling the Giants were going to win. But he picked the Giants plus 315, and then he also picked the over 40.5 points, which is a good one as well, for minus 118, totaling plus 667, and there was a $100,000 amount. So, of course, that paid out $767,000, putting him in first place so far. But again, he has a lot more, there's a lot more to go, because, I mean, like we saw in this other competition, someone had 1.6, they turned 100,000 into $1.6 million. Like, that just blows my freaking mind. But anybody could do that, and somebody could most definitely do that in this competition as well. With 113% behind from first place, we got Mars here with a $654,000 bankroll. So you really not it, you know. It seems 113% behind when we do these trading competitions. Usually, you know, that's a huge amount to be behind. Typically, we never see people even get that high, like 600, obviously, because we don't allow gambling behaviors in our trading competitions. But obviously, this is sports picking, so a little bit different. So we do see higher returns here, but you know, 113%, you're like, man, this guy's miles away from first place. But you know, if you think about it, it's about $100,000 away, and at the end of the day, you know, we all know we see these huge come ups. This guy could get first place very easy. And another balls to the waller here with $100,000 wager to get $654,000. And what was his pick? Another parlay. Let's see if it's. It's got to be the Giants. And yeah, so they had Jackson Dart over 178. New York Giants. They had the over 40.5, and then they had the New York Giants plus 7.5 point spread. If you listen to the Monday Night Edge with Dan Leach, which you should always do, he preaches that, you know, you have key numbers in football, I guess I should say 3.5, 7.5, 14, you know, those numbers that align with the, you know, field goals and touchdown scoring. Those are the best ones that you kind of want to look at. So if a line is at, like, you know, let's say 2.5 or 2, you always want to do the alternative line and see if you can get 3.5. And same thing if it's at like 6, try to get 7, or if it's at 8, try to get 7. You know, that way you don't get screwed over with, because obviously, you know, football, the only way to score is to get 3 points, 7 points, or I guess you get 6 points. So 3 points, 6 points, 1 point with, you know, touchback and all that. So there's only a few ways you can get points, so anything in between that can get a little bit dicey. You can't just win. You can't just, oh, I wish there was a field goal. You want to be able to, like, oh, one more field goal and I win, not like, oh, one more touchdown and a field goal, you know, so it's like 7, 8, 9, 10, like 10 points. It's kind of weird, you know, so make sure you always have those even things. Good morning, Master Terrace Ford Best. How are you doing? Always great seeing you, brother. Have I already eaten breakfast? So it's about 8:50 a.m. I don't like eating breakfast too early typically, but yes, I did eat breakfast today. I had some boiled eggs, some good old boiled eggs, 3 large boiled eggs, brown eggs only, and some chai. I got some chai in here mixed with some espresso, however you want to call it, whatever. And we're living life, Master Terrace Ford Best. How are you? Do you have an arepa today? Anyways, like always, if you guys have any questions or comments or want to ask me what I had for breakfast, feel free to ask away in the comments. Like I said, we got some big news stories here. In just a few minutes, I'm going to talk about the government shutdown, a little bit about Forex. Of course, we got some major, like, world record-breaking highs in crypto this week. And, of course, we do sports picking. We're talking about the NFL Survivor. I'm going to cover all of your NFL news. So let's get into it. What else do we got? Oh, I got one more. Let's go into the trading competitions, just because I don't want you guys, if you're looking for a prop account and you're just, you know, I'm a brokey, or not even brokey, but I'm just like, you know, I don't want to spend money, I don't trust it, whatever the reason is, this is a great way to earn yourself a free prop account. We got our weekly competition, which is $4.99 to enter, but by winning this, we have a bunch of prizes here. $10K for first place, $5K for second place, $5K for third, $5 2-to-1 challenge for fourth, and $5 basic 2-to-1 challenge for fifth. If you don't remember what the 2-to-1 challenges are, or the challenges, those are essentially, you know, you just get a multiplier of what you paid. So the $5 2-to-1, let's see where that is. $5 2-to-1, pay $5 or earn it for free in the competition. And if you hit that profit target 10% before 5%, you get 14 credits. One thing that this is really, really good for, and I've seen a lot of people actually do this with us, is you buy a few of these $5 2-to-1 challenges, and let's say you pass, you know, 2, 3 of them. Now you got enough to buy a 5K A-book challenge account. And if you're able to pass these, right? These 10% profit target and 5% static drawdown. That's going to set you up to be able to, pass one of these A-book prop challenges, right? Which, again, 10% profit target. A lot of them have 5 to 7% depending on the account. 7% drawdown here, 5% in level 4. So you even have bigger drawdown in the challenge phases. So, that's a great thing to do, is go over here, buy one of these challenges and, practice. And I've seen somebody go in here and do the $5 basic 2-to-1, win that, get the 14, get the $10 one, get the 28, right? And then they go over here and they get the $25 one, they win 92, and then they get the $50 one, they win 185, then they get the $100 one, and they do the $100 one about 3 times, and then they're like, boom shakalaka, I got bands and bands make a dance. Sorry, but they got some money now, and then they go over there and they go in to the A book, and maybe now they buy a where's the pricing here? Whatever, I can't find it here. But they go over here and they buy like a 100K or like a 50K account, or maybe 250Ks or something like that, and now they're funded, and they went from not being only having $5 to having 100, 200, maybe even more in prop account funding, and not your scammy B-book prop account, not your we're moving away and going to Dubai and you're never gonna hear about us again prop account, the A-book prop account, the most trusted model in the system. The only prop firm that doesn't place picks against you. We're betting for you. We want you to be as successful as possible. If you've been rectified, or you've been banned from a prop firm for news trading or arbitrage or any of these weird little rules that just prevent you from being successful, come to BullRush, because we want all that. We want all the smoke. The more profitable you are, the more profitable we are. It's our liquidity, our capital, and your trading skills. We're going to take on that market and make some freaking Benjamins. Make some Benjamins. So I just went on a rant. I don't even know what we're talking about now. But let's get into the government shutdown. Jeez, I look rough. Let's go into the government shutdown. So we're day 10. Before that, actually, let me play a quick ad, and then we'll get into the government shutdown. Like I said, we have our NFL Survivor competition going on right now. The registration for that has closed, but you can still join with the right here. Boom. With the satellite rounds. Right now we're in round 7, so just check out a quick message from a very handsome man, and you will... We'll be right back.
You want a shot at $50,000 in cold, hard cash? Well, BullRush just dropped a new sports comp, the NFL Survivor. And the total prize pool, a massive $100,000. First place gets 50 grand, straight up. Think you got the picks to survive 20 weeks? Here's how it works. Start each week with a 100K fantasy bankroll. Make picks using real NFL odds. Place in the top 80% and you survive. Below that, you're out. Your bankroll resets each week, so a bad week doesn't kill your season. Make it to week 20, and you and all the other survivors split the entire $100,000. You want the bag? Prove it. Join NFL Survivor only on BullRush. You want a shot at $50,000 in cold, hard cash? Well, BullRush just dropped a new sports comp, the NFL Survivor. And the total prize pool, a massive...
Sorry about that. Make sure you hop in that NFL Survivor. Now, anybody here heard about the government shutdown? Because it's been shut down for the sorry. This freaking mic, man, keeps falling down. It's been shut down for about 10 days now, I think. And it's not looking too good. We got a lot of things going on. Unfortunately, still taking money out of my paychecks. But yeah. Lots of stuff going down, so let's get right into the news here. Let's get right into the meat and potatoes of what's happening here. If anybody doesn't know, day 10 of the government shutdown in Washington remains at a standstill. On Thursday, the Senate once again failed to advance competing bills to reopen the government for the 7th time since the shutdown began, which... crazy. 7 times they can't come to an agreement. The House passed Republican bill was blocked in a 54-45 vote with just 3 Democrats crossing the party lines, a number unchanged since last week. With no deal in sight, the Senate has now adjourned until Tuesday, effectively guaranteeing that the shutdown will stretch into its second week with no immediate resolution. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer remains firm on the Democratic side, telling Punchbowl News, funny name right there, very trusted probably, every day gets better for us as the shutdown drags on. Very un-American there. Democrats continue to insist on the extension of health care subsidies as a condition for any funding agreement. On the House side, Speaker Mike Johnson took calls from C-SPAN viewers Thursday morning. When asked about military paychecks potentially being missed, Johnson blamed Democrats directly, saying they're the ones preventing you from getting a check. It's sad that the government's such, pointing fingers and name-calling, but over at the White House, President Trump took a firmer tone, accusing Democrats of using health care as a crudgel, and that's quoted, and once again threatening program cuts if a deal isn't reached soon. For now, the shutdown continues, with growing concerns about its impact on federal workers, national services, and the military. Make sure to follow our X account at BullRush Comp to get the latest updates on this. We've been we've been very up to date with all of this stuff and trying to keep it as up to date as possible. So make sure you follow the X account and to really stay up to date on all of that stuff. Turning now to the currency markets, where October is already shaping up to be a pivotal month. Analysts are signaling that the U.S. dollar may be stabilizing after months of decline, with some even pointing to signs of rebound. According to a new report from Convera, diverging central bank policies, particularly between the Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, and the Bank of Japan, could be key drivers of cross-currency volatility this month. The big question, has the dollar finally found its floor? Meanwhile, in Asia, the focus is firmly on the Japanese yen. The currency slid to a 2-month low this week, pressured by dollar strengths and domestic political shifts. But Japan's financial minister issued a sharp warning against what it called disorderly moves in the foreign exchange market, signaling that Tokyo is prepared to intervene if volatility worsens. Taken together, these developments highlight an FX market at crossroads, a dollar potentially regaining strength and a yen under pressure, and volatility lurking across all global currency pairs. I think, I think we're going to see a ton of volatility with currency pairs, especially in the coming months, especially since, we just announced we're freaking ridiculous to me, but, we just announced we're printing another $1 trillion worth of U.S. dollars. So we're definitely going to see some movements, some crazy volatility there. I don't know what just happened. I'm still good? Can you hear me? Oh, okay. There you go. All right, we're back. Sorry. I think I hit like F5 or something to kind of mess my screen up, but we're all good. What was I saying? Yeah, we're going to see a lot of movement here. Master Chairs for Best said 10 USD universe. Sorry, my chat is so small here on the screen. Make it bigger here. He said, did not make it bigger. That just kind of stretched it out. All right. Sorry, I'll just squint. 10 USD University of Michigan inflation expectations October, an important piece of data that will show us the levels of inflation. Yes, very interested to see how that comes out. At this point, all we can do is sit and wait for the data to come out. Boom. All right. Also, yeah, the government shutdown thing too. I did a little bit of research. I mean, we talked about it last week when I last minute realized we wouldn't get the non-farm payroll news. But I did a little bit of research and I was reading about, my major's economics. So this stuff really does interest me, and like how can a like how can a government shut down? Like if I've been in marketing for a while. I've worked with a bunch of fairly big businesses, and a business, if they when they're in a budget meeting and they can't come to a budget agreement, the business doesn't just shut down. You know what I mean? The government is just a very big, inefficient, crappy business. So interesting there. But one thing that I saw was, so all these people don't get paid. A bunch of people get furloughed, which means they have to work, or they don't work, but they get back pay. And then a bunch of people have to work, but they don't get paid at all until afterwards as well. Um, but it's funny. Congress and the House of Representatives still get their biweekly paychecks. Isn't that very interesting? So the guys who are, kind of doing all this, and you hear Chuck Schumer. What was his exact quote over here? Every day gets better for us. That is a crazy quote to say, that every day that the government, the U.S. government, that is shut down, people aren't getting health benefits. People aren't getting those social services. Government employees aren't getting paid and have to show up to work every day. And he says every day gets better for us, that the government shut down. Insane. And just, I think mindsets like that is why we, in the recent years, and it's everything being so politicized, which is so stupid. Don't get me started on how people act like political parties are like sports teams nowadays. But I think just with how like fanatic people are with their political parties. I mean, I see people reacting with political parties crazier than Ravens fans are acting with the blowouts that we've been seeing. And I think just because it's so politicized, so polarized is the word I was looking for. It's like you're either here or here, and these people can't ever agree with anything they say, and these people can't ever agree with anything they say. So it's like every year now, since for the last few years, we got to go through some sort of shutdown like this, and people just don't agree, and it's all petty, and it's in their eyes, they're like, I'm still getting a check, yeah, whatever. The American people, this will just look bad on the president, or this will just look bad on the Democrats, or this will just look bad on the Republicans. They're all thinking like, it's not going to look bad on us, it's going to look bad on the other side. And at the end, who suffers? The American people. You guys, me, everybody in this office, all the American people are the one who suffers. And, to say every day gets better for us is just a wild statement. So I'm officially proposing that we make a new rule. Two things. One, Congress and the House of Representatives are the first to lose their paychecks during a government shutdown. Definitely. You guys shut the government down. Like, why do you get the money? If I shut my business, if I go to BullRush and I'm like, look, BullRush, I don't have this authority. But if I was like, we're shutting BullRush down for a month, but everybody here at BullRush has to lose their paycheck for that month, but I'm still getting paid, that would be absolutely insane. I think that A, lose their paychecks for the duration of the government shutdown, and B, fine each person a small amount, whether it's $1,000 to $5,000 a day that it's shut down. That way, they're financially tied. Like, look, we're hurting the U.S. economy. We're hurting the U.S. We are getting fined for doing a bad job. Because, look, back in the 1700s and stuff, when we formed Congress, when we formed our government and stuff like that, congressmen, there were no career politicians. It was John the farmer down the road that was like, well, it's my turn to go and be a senator, so let me go over here for like 5-10 years and be a senator, and I'll go back to shoveling cow poop and being a farmer. Now it's like, well, I'm the esteemed senator of Vermont. Nothing against Vermont. I was just named a random, but I've been in the Senate for 57 years. Like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And I think because people are in that, they're not actually, they're out of touch with the real American people. But that was my political rant for this. Shout out to everybody in America. I love America. I love everybody in the world. And just love each other, and don't disagree as so much. A question from Master Chairs for Best. Have you heard about the market closing and when it will be reestablished? What market? Let me like FX market? Because due to the government closure, many families involved are going through difficult times. I don't know if I'm following. Like people who are working. So the stock exchanges should still be opening. I know regulatory. Maybe are you talking about regulatory agencies like the SEC, um, CFTC? Um, I know new IPOs could be affected. So maybe that's what you're saying. Yeah. So no new IPOs, and I do know that the SEC has already paused all of its new operations, and same with the CFTC. So, if that's what you're talking about, yes. Other than that, Bitcoin obviously, or crypto, obviously decentralized, wouldn't be affected. Forex is global, so that wouldn't be affected. Those are going to have its regular open and close times. And as far as like New York Stock Exchange, stocks aren't a government, are not funded by Congress. The New York Stock Exchange isn't funded by Congress or anything, so none of that should be closed. But if you're talking about like certain, definitely a lot of people who like are government tied, like the CFTC, SEC, stuff like that. Those are all going to be shut down. Let's get into some lighter news on crypto because it has been, I mean, it's been a historic week in the world of crypto. As institutional money floods in, Bitcoin hits a new milestone. And stable coins raised fresh concerns among global economists. According to a new report, global crypto ETFs attracted a record $5.95 billion in inflows last week alone. That surge in institutional investment comes as Bitcoin soared past $125,000, a new all-time high, driven in part by growing safe haven demand and macroeconomic geopolitical uncertainty. Market analysts say that the move affects renewed confidence in digital assets as inflation hedge and alternative store of value, especially as traditional financial markets remain volatile. But even as crypto gains legitimacy across investors, regulators, and economists are issuing fresh warnings. A new report from the Standard Chartered estimates that rapid growth of U.S. dollar-backed stablecoins could pull nearly $1 trillion in deposits away from emerging market banks over the next 3 years. The report suggests that as stablecoins become more accessible, they could undermine local banking systems and create new risks to financial stability, particularly in regions where confidence in local currencies is already fragile, aka the U.S. It's definitely fragile in the U.S. I just heard, uh, I just heard Robert Kiyosaki, that's who it was. He just had a new podcast, I believe it was like Iced Coffee Hour. I was listening to it this morning on my way to work and while I was actually preparing this podcast. And he was talking about, first, he's got some wild views, but, he was talking about how you should never save because saving kills you. And this goes back into, I think I've talked about it in the show before, is like a good strategy to have is hold your money in assets, like appreciating assets. So like, whether it's houses, but you also want it semi-liquid. So I like to do crypto. I like to do, different short-term investment accounts, stuff like that. But hold it in crypto. He was saying gold and silver. So, keep your money in crypto, gold and silver, and keep your debt in USD because inflation is just going to go even crazier. I think year to date this year, we already lost 10% of value in the dollar. Just this year, 2025. We're 10 months in, so we're almost done. But so far this year, we've lost 10%. And next year, they want to skyrocket the amount of money that's printed into over 1 trillion is just what they said, but they always print a little more. So, it could be 1 trillion, 1.2, 1.5. Who knows how much, but minimum $1 trillion, which means that money you have is just going to shrink down even further. And he said, well, what do I do if I don't have enough money to invest in, someone asked Robert Kiyosaki, what do I do if I don't have enough money to invest in real estate or businesses, or, I don't have Bitcoin's, 126,000, be 130,000 before we know it. And, what if I don't have money to do that? First off, you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can buy fractional Bitcoins. Obviously you put dollar into Bitcoin, and that's still better than nothing. If Bitcoin goes from 120 to 240, your dollar just went to $2. So anything is better than nothing. But first off, buy fractional things. And he was saying, buy gold, buy silver. He just made a point that he had bought gold. He just bought a house, right, in Texas for, I think it was like $4.5 million, right? And when he went and bought that house, he didn't go into the bank and get a loan. He didn't go into his bank account because, we all know he's a billionaire because, with the oil and all that. If you ever looked in his past books, oil, real estate, he's had a lot of businesses. But, he didn't go in his bank account and just get cash out, right? What he did was he went to his safe and he pulled $4.5 million out in gold coins, because he said his whole life he's always collected gold coins. And he's like, that $4.5 million probably cost him $450,000. So essentially, just because he didn't store his wealth in US dollars, he stored his wealth in another form of wealth storage like gold. So he says he does silver a lot, gold a lot, and of course crypto a lot. But he's like, I took that gold out, and now I bought, like, if I had US dollars, I would have paid $4.5 million for this house. But because I had gold, I only paid $450,000. So it's, the best way to fight inflation is, and there's going to be a ton of money, a ton of people who make a lot of money on inflation, and that's because these people set themselves up to have assets that are going to skyrocket during inflation. US dollars value is going to drop and tank drastically. If it's been dropping year over year drastically, so if it dropped 10% this year, who knows, next year 15, 20, 25, 30%. If anybody looks at Zimbabwe, the Zimbabwean dollar, I think within a year it went from like a loaf of bread costing, $10 or 10 Zimbabwe dollars to, costing 10, 20, 30, $100,000 for one loaf of bread, because their economy just skyrocketed, because anytime their government had issues, they just printed more money, which, we're going down the same exact path. Master Terrace Ford Best said, I understand that the relatives of members of the Senate are in serious situations, bro. Davin, have you bought some cryptos? I'll say the relatives of members of the Senate are in serious situations. I doubt that. I think they're very well off as far as family members of directly in the Senate and Congress and representatives, all that. I think they are well off. I don't think they're gonna have. I think out of all the people that are having issues right now, I think they're the last people that are having issues. Because remember, they're still getting paychecks and stuff. And he asked, "Have you bought some crypto?" Yes. Again, not financial advice here. I think it's a good way to hedge. What I try to do is I like to keep. I have my money very much diversified, but I try to keep as little money in cash or in USD, like in my bank accounts, for example. I try to keep as little money in there as possible. I try to put most of it in either short-term investments, long-term investments like IRAs, stuff like that, and then, of course, crypto and gold and silver as well. I'm holding off on gold a little bit. I think there might be a small crash. I don't think it's going to crash down to 2,000 or anything like that. I think there might be a few $100 crash. I'm going to wait for that and probably scoop up a bunch more. But crypto, yeah. I mean, I'm, again, not financial advice, but I'm really big on Bitcoin, obviously. Ethereum, I think, is going to be huge. I mean, if you listen to that Robert Kiyosaki podcast, he talked extensively about crypto and Ethereum specifically. How, I mean, Ethereum, I'm very large on Ethereum. So you asked which ones I bought. Yes, so Master Terrace Ford Best, I have bought Bitcoin. I'll tell you what I'm biggest on, right, in order. Obviously, Bitcoin, I think I'm the biggest on, number one. Ethereum, number two. XRP, I feel really strong on. I think that's a little bit more of a risk, but just because the price level right now, I think it could go up to I think it's definitely going to go up to $5, but I think it has the potential of over the next, year or two to being up to 10 to 15 to maybe even $20. So that one I'm really strong on. And Solana and Cardano, about the only ones I feel strong on. Again, it goes from like most solid asset to like least solid. But the other thing I like to tell people is like everybody wants to make a quick buck on crypto. Like, they want to hop in Bitcoin when it's at 120,000 and sell at 126,000 and, do all this stuff. And I think, yeah, you can make a little bit of money on that. But one, now with AML KYC and all of these brokerages, crypto brokerages, you're going to be paying out the booty in taxes. So that's number one. And two, I really think that if that just put a little bit in every month, and you're gonna have unimaginable wealth in 10 years, right? I think, and that's how I'm looking at it. Is like I have an IRA, I have a 401k, and I look at that as like I look at Bitcoin especially, and same thing with Ethereum and XRP. Those three, I look at those as long-term holds. Like I'll probably won't sell my XRP until for the next 5 years, and same thing with my Ethereum and Bitcoin. Bitcoin probably until 10 years, just because I think just consistently buying over the next 10 years. I mean, that's how all these Bitcoin millionaires, that's how they've become millionaires. Is that it's like they started when Bitcoin was a couple $100s, and they just kept buying, and then now it's as high as it is, and they have thousands of Bitcoins, and they're millionaires, billionaires now. Do I think XRP will explode to 500 USD next year? Honestly, I mean, I'd love it to. I mean, obviously, I want it to get as high as it could. Honestly, no. I don't see it. Anything can happen, so it could. And it all depends, again, on that inflation and what happens with, USD, and what happens with a lot of these other ones. Because, I mean, yeah, XRP isn't a good range right now. That's what I'm saying. I'm buying heavy on the XRP. But, do I think it's going to go to 500? Obviously, I think that's more on the less doubtful side. Like if I had to put a firm number on, like, place a bet on a firm number, I would say by the end of next year, I could see XRP being at like maybe $25 would be a high end, maybe $50 by next year. But again, with inflation, depending on how fast inflation happens here in the U.S., because you're basing it off of against USD, like I said, Zimbabwe, they went from like loaves of bread being, $20, $10 to being $10,000, $100,000 in 1 year. So, everybody always thinks, the U.S. is so great, nothing bad can ever happen here. Well, greed, manipulation, all that stuff can factor in, and, a lot of things can happen. I mean, obviously, if we see that kind of rapid inflation here in the U.S., which is possible, I think most certainly we could see 500 USDT. What is it, $5 or $3 now? Yeah, I think most certainly we could see a $500 USD thing by the end of next year if we have that rapid inflation. But also, if we have that amount of inflation, there's also going to be some serious issues here in the U.S. You're going to see some car tires, some cars on fire in the street. I'm going to have some concerns. I might have to join you, Master Chairs for Best. I'm going to have to fly down and hang out with you. If we have that bad inflation, I'll take all my crypto, hang out with you, and we'll get a nice big mansion down there on the islands, all right? Yeah, that's my views. I think, best way to prepare for inflation if you live in the U.S. and you have U.S. dollars is don't hold U.S. dollars. Get gold, get silver, get, freaking, I mean, I have a lot of stocks. I think stocks aren't as protected, obviously, with inflation as other things. I mean, it could help. Really depends on the company. I do like aerospace. I'm not going to start talking about stocks. I like a few companies. Master for Best said, I have a formula, and it is that the more inflation there is, the more reevaluation of cryptocurrencies. Well, of 100%. I 100% agree with that. Yes, the more inflation goes up, the more reevaluation, and of course, I think, it'll just it'll just move. I mean, I think the best thing on it, as shitty as it is to say, I think one of the best things that can happen for crypto is for the government to just keep mistreating our economy. The more the government just mistreats and abuses our US dollar, the more people will just have less faith in traditional currencies like US dollar and stuff, and the more they'll have faith in crypto. The only thing I'm scared of with gold and stuff is, I do feel it's kind of hyperinflated, but again, you know, I don't study that or anything, so I just from what I've seen, it just feels like it shot up so fast and so quick. It definitely needs to be there, but I have a feeling it's gonna have a small retracement. But let's get into sports. We're starting to run out of time here, so let me get into sports. Like I said, we're gonna cover some NHL stuff, and then we're gonna give you everything we need or you need to know about NFL this week. So going into sports, we have a dominant NHL debut in Montreal, a major NFL upset, and big trades ahead of the deadline. A shakeup in the power rankings, so let's break it all down. First off, the Montreal Canadiens opened their season in spectacular fashion, dismantling the Detroit Red Wings 5-1 at home in Detroit. Newly acquired forward Flip Chittle made an immediate impact, helping fuel an offensive onslaught that set the tone for the Canadiens' campaign. It was a night of fast-paced, tight defense and crowd-pleasing finishes, a statement for sure from Montreal. Now, in the NFL, the New York Giants pulled off one of the biggest upsets in the season, taking down the defending champions Philadelphia Eagles 34-17. One of my favorite rookies right now is rookie QB Jackson Dart showed poise beyond his years, tossing up 2 touchdowns while running back Cam Scatterbo pounded the ground game with over 120 all-purpose yards. The win sends shockwaves through the NFC East and puts the league on notice. With the NFL trade deadlines looming, the Cleveland Browns shook things up, trading cornerback Greg Newsome to the Jacksonville Jaguars in exchange for Tyson Campbell and a draft pick. Campbell adds speed and experience to Cleveland's secondary, while the Jags take a calculated gamble on Newsome's long-term potential. This could be the first of several strategic moves as the team jockeys for postseason position. Postseason position is also one thing that the Baltimore Ravens will most likely not have, unfortunately. Sorry, I'm getting a little parched. And finally, a reshuffling in the NFL power rankings as we enter Week 6. The San Francisco 49ers surged upward following their gritty overtime win against the Rams, showing resilience in the face of mounting injuries. Meanwhile, contenders like the Chiefs and Eagles dipped after disappointing losses, opening the door for rising teams like the Cowboys and Lions to crack the top tier. All eyes are now on Week 6 matchups to see who's for real and who's fading fast. On that, let's see what matchups we have for Week 6 here. Boom. Also, while I'm on this, I just wanted to let you know, let's get a quick message from our boy, my friend, my compadre, my live streaming partner in crime, my big doggy dog up in Detroit, the guy I owe sushi to, Dan Leach, has a quick message for you. And then we'll get into the schedule.
What's going on, fine citizens? Football season is finally upon us. Rejoice! And I could be more excited to tell you that I'm partnering with my good friends at BullRush for a brand new show, the Monday Night Edge with Dan Leach. It's going to be sick. The hottest picks, the craziest game recaps, tons of giveaways, and so much more launching in August. Monday nights, 6 p.m. Eastern, for an hour on all major streaming platforms. You don't want to miss it. Be there and believe in the dream.
Believe in the dream. That's my boy, Dan Leach, with the Monday Night Edge on our YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch every Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. If you liked what I just talked about football, he's going to go way deeper with it. He's also going to be giving you the best picks. So, I mean, I've made some money this year from him. I mean, he's made a lot of money this year already on picks. So make sure you go and you watch, follow his picks. He can give you that secret sauce to win the NFL Survivor. So we got the New York Giants and the Eagles that just played yesterday. I see those 30 and 10s and just think about the Ravens loss last week. It hurts. So in Sorry, Scott and Neil, if you guys are listening. I always mess this name up. The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, England. We got the Broncos and the Jets playing on Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Will I wake up for that game? We'll see. Place your picks right now in the chat if I'm going to wake up for that game. Master Shares for Best also asked, where can I get this? This is one of our exclusive merch items we take to live events and give out to people at live events. We are actually working on building a online store because we're full of transparency here, so I'll give you the full transparency. We could start selling these shirts and these hoodies here in the U.S. today. Right now, I'm actually working on a solution to be able to ship to all of you guys internationally without you guys having to pay insane amounts. Master Chairs for Best, you're pretty close to us, so you probably wouldn't have to pay too much in shipping. But for example, some of our fans in the UK, Europe, or Africa, or India, we looked at shipping for you guys, and you would pay let's say $30 for the hoodie, and then you'd have to pay $100 for shipping. So it really doesn't make sense. So we're working on some solutions, getting some shippers or some wholesalers. Sorry, keep messing up the word. Some 3PLs, some third-party logistic partners in every continent. So that way when we are able to launch, we don't want to just launch and say only people in the U.S. can get apparel. We want to be able to launch and have everybody be able to take part in this amazing apparel, because we have more than just this. We have this. We have, of course... let me make the big camera here. I'll show you all the merch that we have real quick. So we got this hoodie. We got t-shirt version that has some really cool stuff on the back. One sec. If I have a hat here. No. Of course. Don't look at my butt. Yeah, we don't have any more hats. I brought the wrong hat this morning. I meant to wear my hat, but we got footballs. If you want to look at that, let the camera adjust. Boom. Hit that. Beautiful. Just passed it. We got a lot of stuff and a lot more. We got a few different kinds of shirts. I'm actually wearing our OG BullRush shirt. We also have a vintage BullRush shirt. So we have a ton of merch, a few different styles of hats that we're going to be having, koozies, like I said, those footballs, lots of cool stuff. So we'll have a merch store soon. Master Chairs for Best. If anything, catch us at one of our events, one of our future events. But yes, let's go back to this real quick, and then
this isn't fantasy football.
Sorry, wrong button. So Broncos and Jets in London. Then we got Cardinals and Colts. That should be a good game in Indianapolis. We got Chargers and Dolphins down here in Miami Gardens. That'll be a good game. I'm going to go Chargers for this one. We got the Patriots and the Saints in New Orleans. I'd like to see the Saints win that one, but Patriots probably will. We got the Browns and the Steelers. I just hate the Steelers, so I'm going to go with the Browns here. We got the Cowboys and the Panthers in Charlotte, North Carolina, so at home. I'm going to go Panthers for that one. We got the Seahawks and the Jags here. I'm going to go Jaguars. I'm feeling really comfortable. I'm feeling really good about the Jags this year. We got the Rams and the Ravens. As much of a Ravens fan I am, I think the Rams are going to win that, but I think the Ravens will keep it close. So I would stick with the spread on this one, for the Ravens spread, though, on this one. And I think that one's going to be good. So plus 175. Titans and Raiders. I'm going to go with, we got dog poop and cat poop here. I don't know what to look at. Sorry, any fans out there. But I would go with the Raiders probably here because they're home. But they're 0-2 in home. I just saw that. I mean, I like the Titans. I'll go with the Titans. Then we got the Bengals and Packers 425 here in the afternoon games. I'll go with the Packers for this one. And then the Niners and the Buccaneers. That's going to be a really good game at 4:25 in Tampa Bay. Usually I would probably go. I'll go Niners on this one. I think the Niners are going to win that one. And then we got the Lions and the Chiefs. I'm going to go Lions on this game. And then the Bills and the Falcons. I think Bills Mafia takes home the dub. And then we got the Bears and the Commanders. Commanders at home. I'm going to go with the Bears, but I would just take the spread on this one because I think it's going to be a close game. We've got Vikings and Texans as away. So that has been our show. Yep, I already asked that question. How you going to get the jacket? Just give it a little bit of time. Oh, and I froze over here. Well, one sec. Quick technical difficulties. I don't know what's happening. Hey, okay. I'm pretty big here. Okay. Sorry, give me 30 seconds. Let me just readjust my beautiful face here. All right, we are back, guys. My camera had a little malfunction there. But I mean, that's it right now. I mean, we got, that's pretty much all I got for you today. Like I said, lots of news there. Bitcoin prices up right now at actually back down to $121,000. But what was the peak here? Let's see if I was right. I said 126,000. So let me just say it just so before I look at it. 126,000. I think I said 540 something. 126,540 something. Oh, dang. I was just off. $126,100. All right, so I was like 300 off. Whatever. We had a good day. Crypto was good. Government shutdown is still shut down, and it looks like it'll be shut down until next Tuesday. So the 21st, sorry, not the 21st. The 14th is maybe the earliest that we get our government back. But still shut down. Kind of crazy. Remember that every day gets us better for us. Crazy. Forex has been that. Nothing crazy happening. I mean, there's been some crazy volatility, but, how can we predict news? I'm sure someone can. I can't. Crypto has also been pretty crazy here. What did I do? Sorry. I don't know what I did over here. I'm glad I don't look at these anymore in my notes here. My notes were everywhere today. But yeah, we dominant some trades over here in the NFL, some blowouts again, and finally I could talk about a blowout that wasn't including the Ravens. And yeah, Bitcoin is looking good. Remember, laziness is nothing but the habit of thinking about effort instead of the outcome. I talked about that last week. I didn't look up another one before this show, but I think that one's good enough to talk about for 2 weeks. Laziness is just the habit of thinking about the effort over the outcome. Everyone in this society, everybody in this world nowadays, I feel like I hear people, but it's so hard, but it takes so long. It's a doctor, it's so many years of school. Oh my God, trader, but this guy's been trading for 30 years and he just now became... Dude, stop thinking about the effort. Think about the outcome. Think about how you could finally do what you love. Think about how you don't have to go to that 9 to 5 anymore. Think about how you don't have to clock in every time, just in life and it's easy stuff like things that get us fat, like eating ice cream. We're like, oh man, the ice cream's gonna be so good, and we just gobble that shit up. But we don't think about how, we gotta get up, we gotta walk to the fridge, we gotta open it up, we gotta let it de-thaw for a couple minutes. You don't want to eat that rock hard ice cream. So you don't think about the effort with that. You just eat it because it's something that you really want. And unless you really want to be successful or something like that, stop thinking about the effort of becoming successful. Just think about the outcome and then get it done. On that note, I've had a great show. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. We're getting a cold front here in sunny South Florida, so finally we'll have some days in the high 60s, low 70s. So it'll be a nice little day. Hopefully it doesn't rain too much. Hope all of you have a great day. Remember, invest in yourself, invest in your future, and I will see you next week.